Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to News 2 Now live at 4 on this Tuesday. Danica Lewis in for Susan Simon all week as she's on vacation. Good to see you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Historic day today.
Yeah, no kidding. I think a lot of people in our area certainly remember this date.
Yeah, that is our top story today. It was 1 year ago today that South Central Wisconsin saw some of its worst flooding in years. We'll take a look at the recovery of the places hit hardest.
Authorities in Rock County are investigating a deadly crash that is early this morning on the interstate. We'll tell you what we know so far.
And a closing grocery store on Madison's south side has inspired a state lawmaker to take action to prevent food deserts.
Before we get to any of that, let's check in on the beautiful sunrise in Black Earth, and what a peaceful morning, and deservingly so for those folks, because a year ago it was a way different story here. More comfortable, the weather words of the day, and turning it over to Dana Fulton. She is out on our patio, and Dana's
overall, really expecting a nice evening and a nice stretch for the next few days. Of course, we did wake up to a few showers this morning, depending on what side of town you were on. In Madison, or at least the western side of Dane County, we did have some light drizzle. Most of the heavier rainfall stayed in the southwest corner of the state. Here's a live look with our Edgewater Skycam of downtown. Thankfully, right now we have a pretty quiet scene, a few clouds hanging out, but also some sunshine. Our shower chances are right at the edge of Rock County. No lightning, though, just a few isolated showers passing on through. Otherwise, we're in for a dry afternoon and evening. 82 currently in Madison, 86 though in Boscoville, and 82 also in Lone Rock. Compared to this time yesterday, we are in a pretty similar spot. We're looking at a little bit of a cooler overnight, though. Those dew points close to 70, meaning it feels very muggy outside. We're waiting for that second cold front to pass on over. Once it does, again, it's going to be much more comfortable as we head into the middle of the week. Plan on high temperatures in the mid-70s tomorrow with sunshine and a big drop in those dew points. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead for Wednesday, stretching through the work week and into the weekend in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, some good news, no major accidents to report. Things actually seem to be rolling along okay for most of the area. If we can get the graphic there to load, but it doesn't seem like it wants to, but that's okay. Speeds right now, there we go. The eastbound side of the Beltline is where we're seeing the major delays. We do have the speeds reduced down to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Waunakee overall on 113. A little slower, and then around to Forest. No major hiccups at this time. 28 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline, 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and 15 minutes to get from Sun Prairie to downtown this evening. Again, should be dry this evening. Still a little humid outside, though. It's not going to be until tomorrow where we start to get the real comfort back into the area.
Get that humidity out of here.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, thanks, Dana.
We are reflecting on the impact of the historic flooding that began 1 year ago today.
A number of businesses, homes, natural areas suffered millions of dollars in damage from the record-breaking rainfall. Jamie Perez is live at Pheasant Branch Conservancy in Middleton with more on recovery there over the last year. Jamie?
Well, this time last year, we wouldn't even be able to stand where we're standing right now. The water levels from that flood were well above my height, but right now, things are looking much better. The creek, the water levels here are back to normal, but it did take a long time to get to this point. This time last year, this is what this area looked like. Now, the co-president of Pheasant Branch Conservancy says about 250 trees had to be removed. The sand was eroded, and a lot of it carried downstream, moving it to other areas of the Conservancy. The result today, a lot of uneven pavement and many of the hiking trails here, and still some slippery and unsafe areas. Now, the past year, they've been able to open up the Conservancy to the public, but they have been planning for the future and how they're going to handle a flood if it happens again. They do have a plan in the works to make this area more of a safe funnel type system, but until that plan is implemented, they're just hoping that we don't have another flood before then.
We're hoping we don't get a huge flood because the bridges themselves are not really secure. They couldn't take the kind of water that we had last year. Hopefully we'll never have another one that big, but we're trying to create the stability for long term in the new plan.
Lloyd Egan said in September they will hold a public meeting where people can voice their input about what they would like to see in these new plans for the Conservancy as well. This is, of course, working alongside making this area flood-proof. Now, in the meantime, this area is still open for the public to hike and bike and do whatever you want on these trails, but they do ask you to proceed with caution because, like I said, there is still a lot of uneven pavement in this area. They are still recovering from those floods a year ago.
A lot nicer weather today. Jamie Perez live in Middleton. Thank you.
Dane County was at the center of last year's storms, and people living around here are still dealing with the lingering effects.
Josh Spreiter continues our coverage tonight from Black Earth.
Their images burned into the minds of many. Rushing water, washed out roads, collapsed bridges. It's difficult for some to think it's already been 1 year since that day, but the recovery is still going strong.
We're blessed to be in this community and this whole area. It's been wonderful.
You may recognize Steve Schmidt. He's the owner of the Shoebox in Black Earth, which suffered major damage. We were there last year as they figured out what was able to stay and what had to go. They reopened a week later, but the village was not easy to get to.
Both bridges out. Not this one, but east and west, both washed out at the same time.
After more than a foot of rain in a matter of hours, the Black Earth Creek Bridge was just one of the many bridges county-wide either damaged or washed away, stranding thousands.
Initially, it was the flash flooding, and that's where the tragedy of the loss of human life occurred. That's where most of the damage occurred was due to flash flooding, both in streets and rising over stream banks.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you guys had to overcome? Had you seen anything like this before?
My initial experience of it the day was we weren't expecting this type of rain, obviously. No one ever does.
It's for all those reasons, Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says we all have to be better informed, better prepared, and expect the unexpected with higher groundwater and changing weather patterns. But overall, he's proud of everyone for stepping up.
There's story after story that has been relayed to me of people from police officers to sheriff's deputies to regular citizens going out and being true heroes in helping other people. And I think we can all take a lot of solace in that.
It's that same sentiment felt by Steve Schmidt. This community really stepped up for you, didn't they?
Oh my God, it gives me chills. I'm going to tears in my eyes. The community was amazing.
In Black Earth, Josh Spreiter, News 3 Now.
Areas just west of Madison saw the brunt of the damage, which added up to around $150 million countywide. The county is implementing a new multi-year plan being funded by $18 million. That was put into the budget specifically for flooding this year. In other news, a 23-year-old Milton man is dead after a crash on the interstate in Janesville. It happened around 5 o'clock this morning at Avalon Road. DOT officials say a Ford pickup truck hit the back of a semi. The truck became disabled in the left lane, and moments later, a Chevy Silverado rear-ended it. The Chevy driver was killed, and the 34-year-old Madison man in the pickup truck was injured. Their names are being withheld until family members are notified. The crash forced all southbound lanes and one northbound lane at the Highway 11 Racine Street exit to be closed, causing more than 5 miles of backups. It took nearly 4 hours to clear the space.
A 13-year-old boy is in custody this afternoon for allegedly stabbing his mother's boyfriend in the chest. Madison police say they arrested the teenager around 10:40 last night after the incident inside an apartment on Straubel Court. That's near the Eastside Community Center. The victim is expected to be okay. The teenager faces a tentative charge of first-degree recklessly endangering safety. 4 developers are competing to build a new grocery store on South Park Street.
Neighbors have been worried about a possible food desert there. Rose Schmidt is here to explain how the city is trying to prevent that from happening. Rose?
Yes, maintaining access to healthy foods is something both Southside neighbors and city officials recognize is a major priority. Originally, Pick and Save on South Park Street was slated to close by the end of this year, leaving the area without a grocery store. But after hearing concerns from neighbors, there was a change in course. The timeline is not yet set for when that store will close, but the city asked for developers to come up with plans for a new grocery store in the lot next to Pick and Save. This month, the city received 4 competing proposals for that Truman Olson development.
We would work with the property owner. We would continue to work with Roundy's and Kroger, which we've already have done, and try to figure out what that timeline looks like, what's a feasible timeline, and then work in tandem and collaborate to make sure that there is no gap in grocery store service in South Madison.
2 state representatives, Sheila Stubbs and David Crowley, are working on legislation aiming to prevent food deserts in Wisconsin. The bill is still being drafted, but they're considering offering tax credits or some type of incentives to grocery stores. And the city will host a public meeting on September 26th where they can hear what community members think about the 4 proposals. All the proposals have a grocery store included, but they also have other elements, such as affordable housing and retail space.
All right, Rose Schmidt, thank you.
Still to come at 4 as we mark that 1-year anniversary of the historic flooding in our area. The big question is, could it all happen again?
We'll sit down with a UW expert to talk about the role climate change plays in extreme weather events like the one we saw last August. That's what Live at 4 continues. Stocks fell on Wall Street as investors await news from the Federal Reserve later this week. The Dow Industrials lost 173 points, closing at 25,962. The Nasdaq gave up 54, and the S&P 500 fell 23. Maizomani's fire department is now better equipped to respond to future flooding events.
2 new rescue boats arrived within the last couple weeks, along with gear for each of the first responders who volunteered to be trained in swift water rescue. By this fall, about 2/3 of that department will be trained to help when and if another major flood hits.
Although I'd rather see this stuff dry rot, I know we're going to end up going out in it eventually, and hopefully we can assist how we were aided by other departments last year.
The Maizomani community raised about $20,000 so the fire department could purchase all of this after about 100 houses had to be evacuated in last year's flooding in that village alone. We will have a much closer look at this new rescue program on News 3 Now at 5. So one of the many questions, you just heard it there, people are asking after last year's flooding is if we would see more of these weather events like this as our climate changes.
Director of the Center for Climatic Research at UW-Madison, Jack Williams, is here. Welcome to Live at 4. Thanks for being with us today. I mean, first and foremost, climate change is a real thing.
Climate change is a real thing. It's clearly getting warmer. July was the warmest month ever on record, and we can tie that rise in temperatures to our greenhouse gas emissions through fossil fuel burning.
And that leads to Extreme weather events.
That's right. A warmer atmosphere is a more energetic atmosphere. We're seeing more extreme events. We're seeing stronger hurricanes. We're seeing bigger storms. And so the kinds of things we saw last year here in Wisconsin are part of a bigger pattern.
And I can imagine the rising temperature in a place like Wisconsin, where we rely on slow snow melts as well. That kind of probably, I'm sure you've seen that play into the flooding concerns as well.
One of the things that's happening is we're starting to see more of these kind of medium to big rain events, these 1-inch type of rain events. And when that happens, the ground table gets saturated. So it gets harder for that rain to run off. It goes right back into our rivers, into our lakes, and starts to cause these kind of flooding problems.
But last year, that was an anomaly. 14,
Right.
15 inches of rain.
That is an unofficial record. And it's certainly one of the biggest rain events we've ever seen in the state of Wisconsin.
For you, is it not if, but when something like that happens again?
I think it's best to be prepared. What we've certainly seen is that not only has this been the warmest summer on record, warmest month on record, in Wisconsin it's been the wettest decade on record. So what seems to be happening for us here in this state is as things get warmer, it's regionally getting wetter. More rain and more of these big kind of rain events. So being better prepared for these kind of rain events in the future is a good idea.
More spring flooding, more big snowstorms?
Certainly, more spring flooding is a kind of thing we can expect, and perhaps bigger snowstorms as well. Of course, as things get warmer, more of that snow will turn into rain in future years.
I think over the last year, we've been focused so much on solutions. Is there something that really sticks out for you in kind of understanding the weather side of this that would be effective or at least might be the best case scenario, best option?
I think there's really two things we're doing at the same time. One is moving our energy to electric, non-fossil fuels. So seeing Xcel and other energy and other power companies moving towards committing to non-carbon energy by 2050, that's a big step in the right direction. Certainly in terms of preparing things like strengthening our bridges, doing bigger stormwater routing systems. We now keep sandbags in our basement on hand. Those are the kind of things we can all do to prepare.
Has the damage been done, or can it be reversed?
I would say both. We have already started to warm. We are seeing the climate system change. There's more change in the pipeline, but we can slow down, we can mitigate the amount of climate change coming. So when I talk to people about climate change, it's not a matter of stopping climate change, it's a matter of slowing it down and heading off the worst possible outcomes that are out there for the unmitigated climate change scenarios.
Man-made climate change.
Man-made climate change.
There have been
right.
catastrophic, has there been ice ages?
That's what I study. There have been ice ages in the past. We know what have caused those climate changes in the past. And in the past, they've actually been caused by changes in greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere. CO2 naturally rising and falling in the past has been a major driver of those past ice ages. We also now know that we are putting a lot more of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere through our fossil fuel burning, taking that carbon that's deep in the ground, burning it, using that energy, which has good value, and then releasing as a waste byproduct that carbon dioxide, which acts as a heat trap within the Earth system.
We have about 30 seconds left, but is there another area, whether it's in the country or in the world, that you've been watching in this realm that really concerns you?
Certainly in the U.S., what I've watched the most is Florida and sea level rise and Texas and hurricanes, right? Our coastal areas are the most exposed to the effects of climate change. Here in Wisconsin, we've got our problems. We do have to be paying attention to these big storms and preparing for them. But compared to other parts of the country, in some ways, we have it relatively good when it comes to thinking about these climate change concerns. But we should all be working together on the problem.
Yeah, the oceans are rising as the ice melts.
That's right.
Good information. Jack, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
There was more to come at 4, including an update on an electric scooter pilot program in Milwaukee.
And tonight at 5, how a Middleton school is back after last year's devastating flooding.
Well, take a look at this. It's being called the Great Mattress Migration of 2019. Dozens of air mattresses cartwheeling their way across a park in Denver after strong winds ripped through the neighborhood. The mattresses had been set out for an event called the Bed Cinema, where people could reserve an air mattress to watch a film in the open air. The guy who shot this video says this air mattress stampede lasted for almost 30 minutes.
I wonder how far they got.
Forgot the tie down.
There's a pool right on the other side of this fence. A lot of them got stuck in there.
He did catch one.
Yeah.
But they got stuck in the building. But what?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
oh, look.
See, there it went in the pool.
That's a good spot for it, at least.
When I first saw this video, it's like, how did this happen? Why did this happen?
Right.
Why? Well,
Wow.
I was wondering, like, college dorm with, like, all the kids moving in and the
It's made
mattresses.
It's an outdoor movie thing, so they put the mattresses
Yeah, it's
down.
off a movie. But you think they would tie them down.
Nope. They
Not
didn't.
paying attention to the forecast.
Like tumbleweeds.
Right.
Like, I know the tumbleweed, those elusive air mattress
That's right.
tumbleweeds.
They've appeared again. Thankfully, you all are paying attention to the forecast. I appreciate it. So we're looking at a really nice, comfortable middle and end of the week. Right now, it's a little humid outside. We're looking at a dry few hours, just waiting on a cold front to pass on through, and then it is going to be pleasant for the next few days. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead, though, right after the break. Of course, 1 year ago today, that is when the historic flood was. Looking back at those rainfall totals, a record-breaking day for much of the area, or reports coming in near Cross Plains of almost 15 inches at the airport officially, over 3¼ inches of rain coming through. So that's why we keep talking about it. It was a significant day for much of the area, for our businesses, for so many families, and also from the meteorological side of things. That was a significant amount of rainfall coming through. Good news, though, our Doppler track is quiet right now. Of course, course, we did see showers come through earlier this morning, especially towards the southwest corner of the state. We had some lighter drizzle stretching into the very edge of Sauk County and the western side of Dane County. Right now, though, again, things are pretty quiet, and we're looking at a nice quiet stretch for the evening and overnight. And for the next several days, a nice little pattern for us. We're at 82 right now in Madison. A bit of a breeze coming from the southeast at 10 miles per hour. Our dew points, though, close to 70. So it does feel a little muggy outside still. Thankfully, only a partly sunny sky. We don't have any showers marching in, but we're still waiting on this cold front to completely pass through. Once it does, our temperatures will start to fall and our dew points will drop as well. So it's going to be much more comfortable for the next few days. We don't have any more systems sliding on in, so no threats for any rain coming through for the rest of your work week. High pressure off to the west will steadily ridge in. It'll keep things fairly clear and quiet. We're also going to have a little bit of a breeze coming from the northwest tomorrow. Thankfully, not too windy, just enough that you'll be able to notice that lighter breeze for us. So overnight, plan on a mostly clear sky by the morning. Our breeze again coming from the northwest. If you have to travel down south at all into central or northern Illinois, they will be dealing with some showers tomorrow afternoon, but we're going to keep all of that rain to the south, nothing drifting on up. We can enjoy sunshine for Wednesday, for Thursday, and for Friday, and for the weekend. The weekend right now looking pretty pleasant. And yesterday, we were looking at the threat to see a few stronger storms come through for us. Our isolated storms pop up this afternoon, but as you can see, our severe weather potential for the day just non-existent. We did already have the heavier rainfall towards the southwest corner this morning in Grant County. We saw those heavier showers, but just not the case now. No more threat overnight. So just enjoy the evening, even though it is a little humid outside. By Wednesday morning, Wednesday, not Tuesday, Wednesday morning will be in the mid-60s. Again, that breeze coming from the northwest. In the afternoon, our high temperatures will land in the mid-70s. It'll be a really pleasant day outside. A little bit below average for Thursday morning. We're falling into the mid-50s, so a little cooler start to the day. And then in the afternoon, again, planning on a mostly sunny sky, so a nice little pleasant trend. Overnight temperatures will steadily drop. Thankfully, our breeze is going to stay pretty quiet, but it is going to shift directions once that cold front passes. Currently from the southwest, but by the morning, it'll be a northwest flow. Plan on an overnight low of about 65 in Madison. Partly cloudy sky, but some patchy fog certainly possible as those temperatures fall close to our dew points tomorrow afternoon. Mid to upper 70s for afternoon highs. Partly sunny, a little cooler, but really nice outside. Again, looking ahead through the rest of the work week, we get to enjoy sunshine, comfortable weather, and a lot of kids getting ready to go back to school next week. So this is a nice little end to summer for this week and the weekend. Upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday with partly sunny skies. And it looks like that rain chance is going to hold off until Monday and Tuesday as opposed to coming in later on Sunday. So we get to enjoy a dry weekend before our next system brings our chance for showers to start off the following week. But we have a nice little 5-day stretch there to get outside and enjoy the weather. In the evening, in the afternoon,
get
in the morning.
the car washed.
Get the car washed. You get to. That's the nice thing is when you can wash your car at the beginning of the nice day stretch, and then you can enjoy it for 5 or 6 days.
Right. Good. And then have the rain do the work after the weekend.
Right. Wait until next week, and it'll be fine.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Yep.
A wild scene on a Milwaukee interstate has people in shock.
In the video, electric scooter riders dodge semis and SUVs on the interstate. Mark McPherson is in Milwaukee, where the city's mayor says if this happens again, he may pull scooters from the streets altogether.
What are they doing? Oh my God, that makes me nervous.
Some things you have to see to believe.
That's outrageous.
I think it's dangerous, right? It's not safe.
3 people took a ride on the interstate on scooters Monday.
We obviously don't give an intelligence test before people take these things out.
For all the work the city has done to get the word out about being safe on these scooters, the message obviously hasn't reached everyone.
Because why someone would think that it makes sense to take one of these scooters on the interstate is beyond me.
Up until now, the biggest problem has been people riding on sidewalks instead of the street. It led the mayor to temporarily suspend the program and warn residents that if they don't start following the rules, the scooters can disappear.
This is a pilot program, and that means that we can very quickly change things if it's not working.
Authorities say the 3 were from out of town, and GPS led them onto the freeway. A sheriff's deputy pulled them over and drove them to safety.
I can't even ride with the phone or anything. You have to use both hands, so GPSing and going on the highway is a little insane to me.
Despite Monday's crazy scene, the mayor feels the message about safety is getting through. But as this video proves, the city can only do so much. The rest is up to the rider.
People have to use a little common sense here, and if you're taking a scooter on the expressway, you're not using common sense.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I was about to say, it goes without saying right there. The three were all cited for riding on the freeway.
It'll cost them each more than $200 in fines.
I hope so.
Still to come at 4, we are one step closer to electric vehicles going mainstream.
We're not there yet, but the 2019 Kia Niro EV is one step forward. We will check it out when we get behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs next on Live at 4. Okay, here's your chance to bid on a piece of action history. You're going to pay for it, though. The car Steve McQueen drove in the 1968 film Bullet is heading for the auction block. It was featured in a sequence that many say set the standard for on-scene car chases. The 1968 Ford Mustang GT recently turned back up after disappearing for decades. Last year, a Tennessee man revealed he had been keeping it in his garage the whole time. He says his father bought it for $6,000 and refused to sell it to McQueen twice. The car goes up for auction in Florida in January. I imagine you will need quite the big checkbook.
Yes, probably be the most expensive car ever auctioned.
Yeah. All right. That means out of, slightly out of this guy's price
both
range.
we keep going together.
Maybe. Yeah. We'll try to pull some money. The electric vehicle market is consistently growing, and fortunately for more modest consumers, they aren't all luxury brands.
The latest effort comes from Kia. They've come out with an all-electric version of their small SUV, the Niro. Let's check it out as we go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs. The Kia Niro.
Yes, the Kia Niro.
It's like a regular car.
It is pretty much a regular car until you do this.
We're on.
We're on, and you don't hear anything because it's all electric.
All electric with a range of 239 miles.
your results may vary.
If you're really concerned about range, you can go ahead and press this drive mode button and hold it. Then you go into Eco Plus mode, and it manages the HVAC system. It limits the top speed to 60 miles an hour and does a number of other things to make sure that you're driving as efficiently as possible.
On the other side of the coin, the Nero has sport mode.
And then,
ooh,
see?
Get a little squeal out of the tires.
Exactly. It's, you know, you get decent acceleration here. It's actually, can be very fun to drive. I find I drive this thing most of the time in eco mode because, it's an eco car.
How often do you look at that range?
All the time.
Constantly.
Constantly.
That would be me.
But the Nero tackles some of that range anxiety with some nifty software.
So if we go into EV mode,
yep,
it'll show us how far we can go on the amount of electricity we have left.
Exactly.
So we could get to Lambeau Field.
We could.
We can get to Chicago.
Yep.
Get to La Crosse.
Yeah, not quite Minneapolis.
No, we'd have to stop on the way. And we are going to this fast charger at Westtown.
Right by Westtown Mall.
A fast charger will give you about an 80% charge in about 45 minutes. But when we get to that fast charger, we find a non-electric vehicle taking up the parking space in front of it.
What's happening here is called icing out. People park their internal combustion cars in electric-only vehicle spaces kind of to be a jerk.
This guy parks in the way.
Right, so now you can't charge. And what a lot of people are doing, they're ticketing for this now.
I mean, we could park here, but this is...
But this is a handicap spot, so we can't charge here.
So we head over to Kohl's. They have level 2 chargers, which only give you about 20 miles of range per hour.
Plug it in here, and that's it.
Let's go buy some socks.
Yeah, exactly. I need a new pair of jeans.
The all-electric Kia Niro starts at $38,500, and it qualifies for the $7,500 federal tax credit, so you could be driving one of these for about $31,000. A big step forward in the EV movement, but Harvey doesn't think we're there quite yet.
I think when we get closer to 400 miles of range, 15-minute charge time, and maybe a 5% price premium, you'll see electric vehicle purchase just take off. And I don't think we're that far away from that.
But this is a step in that direction.
Very
much. You have to take this step first.
Yeah, exactly.
And Harvey is here now. I've never heard of being iced out before.
There you go. It happens more often lately. There have been some pretty funny videos on YouTube of people in their Teslas towing F-150s out of an electric Tesla.
And they have the torque for it.
They do. It's pretty funny.
So this is a car that people could actually afford.
Yes, if they could get it here.
Right.
But it's not on sale in Wisconsin
I was
yet.
going to say that's the rub. You can't even buy this car
Right.
in Wisconsin.
Where would be the closest spot, Harvey?
Well, there are the what are called the CARB states. These are states like California that have mandated a certain number of vehicles in their state be all electric or zero emission. And so Kia and a lot of manufacturers are sending their vehicles to those states first. Once those quotas are met, then they'll be able to sell them in other states.
California, Texas, Maryland.
All right, home state right there, representing.
Yeah, so it really is usually along that east-west coast in those areas.
So by the time the car is available here, they'll get all those bugs worked out? And
there'll be more, you'll have a little more range, a little shorter charge time, and maybe the price will be a little bit better.
Maybe people stop being jerks and parking in the charging lane there.
That's right.
The future's almost here.
Almost here.
All right, Harvey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Still to come before there's plenty of summer left, plenty of time for delicious steak salads.
Because why not? Angie Orkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here with some great recipes you will want to try or at least smell, because the studio smells amazing. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Right now, no accidents to report. Of course, that's always the good news. Along the Beltline, east and westbound, I'm seeing the usual delays as we look down towards Janesville. 39 and 90 rolling along quite smoothly. Downtown actually doesn't look too bad either. Doing a bounce up towards Paradis, Sauk City. There's delays there on 12 heading westbound, and around Lodi we're also seeing some delays right now. 26 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline, 17 minutes from Sauk City to Middleton, and then from Sun Prairie to downtown. It'll take you about 20 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
Thank you. Don't put away that grill just yet. There's plenty of summer weather ahead.
Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council is here with a couple of great summer steak recipes, salad recipes, I should say.
Oh, it smells good.
It smells, I can't even start to describe.
I just crave this kind of food this time of year.
Yeah.
It's so fresh, it's so light, incorporating a lot of fruit, which is a little bit out of the box with steak, but it's very good. So let's start with this one. This is, it's called a grilled steak and watermelon salad, and I just have a bed of arugula and then grilled watermelon.
Grilled watermelon.
So just did 4 wedges and grilled them on my indoor grill, 2 minutes aside. And then you can sprinkle with a little salt and pepper if you like, and I grilled that alongside a couple tenderloins, and then the tenderloins I rubbed with cumin and coriander.
Got some right here,
Giving
ready to
it
rock.
really great. I think it's part of what we're smelling is that cumin and coriander.
I think it's a little bit of everything.
You just put it right on top of it.
Yeah, a teaspoon of each. I mixed them together and then rubbed it on the tenderloins on both sides. And you can do that 15 minutes up to 2 hours ahead of time. It's not tenderizing, it's just flavorizing.
Sure.
And you don't have to use tenderloin. If you don't want to splurge on tenderloin, you could use sirloin or strip steak or any kind of grill-ready steak. And then top with some cherry tomatoes.
All right.
So if you have those.
Do that one first. Go ahead, Mark.
And then some feta.
I love feta.
I know, feta's so good. It gives like a nice little saltiness.
Some red onions.
Let's see if I can, oh wow, there we go. Whoever has that bite has a lot of cheese.
That looks great.
It does
And then
look
just
great.
some prepared balsamic vinaigrette. And I just used what I had.
You want to mix this up, or it goes right on?
Goes right on. It's just a salad dressing.
Oh, okay.
It was nice and easy. It wasn't homemade.
Put more work on yourself, Mark.
But that looks good.
There you go.
That looks amazing.
Okay, so the second recipe has fresh avocado, fresh mango, and then the dressing I used half for kind of a marinade for a top sirloin. And top sirloin's tender, so I'm just marinated for a little flavor. But if you wanted to even use a flank steak or skirt steak or chuck steak, like a more economical cut to go farther, marinate in this overnight. It's a base of lemon juice, so it's got that acidic lemon juice in there to break down the muscle fibers, and then fresh cilantro, honey, cumin, and that might be it. A little bit of salt.
Simple.
A little bit, yeah. So I put half on the steak, and then grilled the steak. So I got that here, and I just topped with a little salt too at the end. And I got a bed of just like a spring mix, but you could use whatever you like.
Whatever you like.
Whatever you like. So top sirloin I love on salads, because usually they're about a pound, and I have a family of 4, so that's 4 perfect servings. So 4-ounce servings. Okay, and then we're gonna top with a mango.
It's fresh mango.
Fresh mango. I was doing surgery on this guy.
Yeah, they are not easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Neither are avocados sometimes. You really put your work in this one.
Okay, this one turned out really nice. It looks good.
Avocados have to be the perfect ripeness.
I know.
Ripeness to work.
Yeah.
Not too ripe, but then not too hard. Okay, and then a little more red onion. And then I'll use
gracefully dumped on there as Angie places it carefully on.
Okay. Food styling. Yeah.
I like it.
And then the dressing. And then those are some flavored pumpkin seeds.
Nice.
What? You can buy them right in the supermarket.
He's got
They're
to try
actually
one.
like a chili lime. I thought they'd be perfect with this flavoring. And so you can just sprinkle
Pumpkin seeds are usually bigger than that, aren't they?
Well, they're I don't know.
Little ones.
They are little ones.
Little guys.
Or you could do sunflower seeds, or nothing at all if you don't want. But there you go. So this is just a grilled steak, avocado and mango salad.
So when you're shopping, what should you look for in a steak?
I always put it on the grill, especially.
I always look for choice. So that's the grade. And that's about what all of our supermarkets here in Madison and southern Wisconsin carry. And it's ready for the grill because it's got that marbling, and it's going to be tender. I always look for a bright cherry red color, that the packaging doesn't have a hole in or anything. But yeah, if you get choice steak, top sirloin or tenderloin or even strip T-bones if you want, they're perfect for recipes like this.
It never hurts to ask the butcher what's good today. I mean, they know what cuts are better than what's come in.
Definitely. Yeah, if you have a recipe, take it in with you and ask. Definitely, they'll be there. They love helping you.
So the fruit thing you mentioned right off the bat might be a little off-putting for some people. They might be a little weirded out.
Very good.
Yeah.
You got to try it. You got to try it too. And like grilled pineapple too.
I was going to ask if there were other fruits.
We do. We have kebabs with grilled pineapple and like a sweet sesame glaze with a little honey in it and soy sauce. So yeah, beeftips.com is our website. You'll find, if you click on As Seen on TV, you'll see these recipes plus some other great salads. But then go into our recipe collections and check out everything we have.
But you're right. That's a perfect combination for this time of year.
Oh, yes.
It's not too heavy.
No, and then you still get your protein. You still get that hot steak, so you're satisfied.
And you got to use that grill while you can.
Yes.
Get it out while you can.
I know, winter's right around
I know, I know.
Now, got a couple months on. Beeftips.com. Ange, thanks.
You're welcome.
Can't wait to dig in. We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast.
Ready to roll playback? 3.
Still a little humid out there.
Yeah, still a little humid right now, but it is going to be much more comfortable for the rest of the weekend as we get into the weekend. A really nice stretch for us. Here's a live look right now. Even though it is humid, still mostly clear. We did have some showers, of course, come through this morning, and then a few isolated shower spots. It looks like right now in Rocky Green County, it's all nice and dry. We don't have anything new moving in overnight. Our skies will stay partly cloudy. Temperature-wise, though, we're at or above average. 80 in Platteville and Monroe, and in the Dells, 82 in Lone Rock and in Madison. Pretty close to where we were at this time yesterday, plus a degree or two for some spots, but those dew points are close to 70, which means it feels pretty humid outside. Overnight, that warm air will hold on for a little bit. Our breeze still coming from the southwest, but by tomorrow morning, our temperatures will be in the mid-60s. We have our breeze coming from the northwest, and that's going to lead to an overall cooler day and much more comfortable day. Plan on mostly sunny sky for tomorrow afternoon, and temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s for those afternoon highs. So really nice Wednesday to enjoy. And the good news, if you're stuck inside tomorrow, we get a copy, paste, repeat performance for the rest of the weekend,
A little different than last year.
A little different than last year. We had some rain this morning, but
not 14 inches.
Quite a bit less, yes.
All right, Tina, thank you. And tomorrow on Live Before, Lisa Bridge from the Bruce Company will be showing us some fun craft projects you can do with your kids.
Summer's almost over. Get them in. And Consumer Reports will break down how well water filters work and which ones we should be considering.
In today's Final Touch, we found some incredible sand sculptures.
And they were all part of a festival in southern Israel. First up, it took 10 days to make and stretches over 55 feet. This sand sculpture of Gulliver, a character famous for his adventurous streak, is on display. That is a big old sand sculpture there. It's taken 2,000 tons of sand to produce the sculptures for this festival, which are made up of